Okay, I'm here with Rob Kay from the Round Table, and we are going to talk tonight about the best way to take advantage of promotions from your local sports books. So, Rob, why don't you give a little bit of background about yourself before we dive right into this?
Thanks, Cameron, and hello to the round table. I'm Rob Kay from Australia. I've been a professional punter, as we call them over here, for about 8 years, mostly taking advantage of promotions here. It's really hot in the States at the moment with online gambling opening up, so I'm hoping that what I've got to talk to you about will be helpful. Might get stuck into the presentation.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So just a couple of definitions. I've been writing a book on betting, and it's crazy how many different terms there are in different parts of the world. So these are the terms that I use. Bonus bet, it's just a free bet, I think you would call it, where you can put a bet on, and if it wins, you just get to keep the profit. So it's a common marketing tool for bookmakers and sports books. Deposit bonuses, so these are the bonus bets that you receive when you open a new account. It's usually a matched bonus, so you might deposit $1,000 and then get $1,000 of free bets. And a promotion is just a general term I use. It could be the deposit bonus for a new account, or it could be a promotion on a specific match. For example, you lead at halftime and you might get a bonus bet if you lose. Could be anything. So I think it's important to understand why bookmakers offer promotions. Two reasons. First one is to attract new clients, acquire market share, which is the phase that a lot of states in the US are in at the moment. That's where you start to see those huge deposit sign-up bonuses to get the customers. And then once they've got the customers and the market share, they want to maintain that market share. And so that's the second reason for it. And that's where you start seeing the specific match promotions, or loss rebates or things like that. So I'll talk a little bit about both types of promotions. My main focus is on the match specific ones, but I'll talk about it all. So there's 4 types of rewards you can get when it comes to promotions, and I've listed them, the top 3, in the order of how good they are. So the first type we have here is early payout. So this might be a promotion on a match, for example, where, say, if the Kansas City Chiefs are up by 7 at halftime, boom, they're going to pay you out on your money line bet. So even if they go on to lose, you're paid your full stake plus your profit. That's an early payout. They've got quite good value, even though they might not hit that often in terms of your team leading and going on to lose. They're really good value generally. The second type is money back. So this might be money back if Tom Brady scores 2 touchdown passes but you lose. So in that case, you might bet $100. Tampa Bay, he plays for now, right? I think
He did, yeah.
Go on to lose. That's right. Yeah, I'm more of a numbers guy, so I don't follow the actual players and teams much. So him, Tampa Bay might lose, but he might throw his 2 touchdowns. Your $100 bet gets returned as $100 cash. You're effectively zero profit on the match. The third type is where you get a bonus bet back or a free bet. So using the same example, instead of getting your money back, you'll get a free bet back. Now, that's an important difference to money back, because actually that free bet is worth less than your $100 cash. And as I'll show you, it's worth around $80 out of the $100 cash that you initially spent. And then the fourth type, which is not common in Australia at all, but I know it's a common thing in the US, is you can get comps. So free accommodation and flights and things like that. I guess the main consideration there is that do you want that comp? Like Cameron, I know you're in Canada, so if the comp is a night's accommodation in Las Vegas in March, do you really want that comp? It's something you have to consider there.
So for the early payout as like a reward, are you talking like Bet365, for example, just has early payouts as a house rule, right? Like you're up 3 goals in hockey, it pays out as a winner. You don't actually have to win the game, right? Or basketball is 18 points, pays out as a winner. Football is 17 points, maybe something like that. But that's not like a promotion. That's just every day. So like is that what you're talking about here as well in terms of just like the early payouts, because that's available to I think most of the players, right? Not just new players.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, so Bet365 do the same thing here on Australian rules football and NBA as well. But that's a promotion. Yeah, in my book, there's other bookmakers that offer similar promotions here. Probably the same in the US, but there's definitely value in that depending on which promotion it is. Like obviously, I think you mentioned 3 goals up in the ice hockey. So how often does it happen that a team is 3 goals up and then goes on to draw or lose? As I get into later, that's the key. That's the key point. But it happens not often, so that might happen. Let's say 5% of the time, but that might be enough to switch the money line odds from a negative EV bet due to the margin over into positive EV territory. Sometimes it takes a bit of statistical research to work out how often that happens, and usually the best team almost always to be backing there is the underdog, because they're the ones more likely to lead, get off to a good start, and then go on to lose. And also they're the better team to back because the reward is bigger. Instead of getting, say, back $100 profit on your I'll try to talk in American odds. I'm a decimal odds guy. But say you're plus 100 bet. If you're backing the dog at say plus 500, you're getting back $600 there. Both those things really add value depending on the specific promotion.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about bonus bets because free bets. So what tends to happen in the progression from when an overseas bookmaker or a new bookmaker opens up to when they've been established for a while. Just as a bit of a background, we've had the online giants like Bet365 and Ladbrokes in Australia for about 20 years. So when they first started out, everything was cashback, money back promotion. Eventually, over time, they go to, okay, let's try and cut the losses on these promotions. Let's go to free bets, bonus bets. And that's very much the situation in Australia. 90% of the promotions are bonus bets, and the States will end up like that too, I'm sure. So there's two aims really to say if you get $100 bonus bet. The first aim is really to convert it into cash. As I mentioned, it's not quite worth $100. It's worth long term about $80, even $90 if you play it the right way. And obviously, aim two is to get the best returns you can on the bonus bets you receive. So you have two options for how to spend a bonus bet or free bet. The first option is not that common, but it can still happen. So just on a regular bet, like a regular bet that you're going to make at that bookmaker. That's the important thing to consider, that you're always going to get a bonus bet that you must spend at that bookmaker. Now, if you were planning on having a $100 bet on Tampa Bay at the line and you've got a bonus sitting there, fantastic, go for it. Why not? Where you don't want to spend that bet is just because you've got it, oh yeah, I'll back Tampa Bay, why not? That's the wrong reason to be spending a bonus bet in that situation. What you'll find long term is that most of the time you'll end up having these bonuses that you need to spend, and your situation is, right, well, how do I get the most out of this? It's just a random bet. And the real trick here is the longer the odds that you use your random bonus bet on, the better the long-term returns. And I have a couple of tables that explain that now.
Yeah, I had a question about that, because you'll see now some sports books, they just limit the odds, right? But some, you see it both ways. I have some sports books that are like, it has to be at least minus 200. Like, they don't want you dumping these sports books on the favorites. And then the other ones go the other way, where they say it can't be higher than plus 225 or plus 125 or plus 150, right? Because they I guess know exactly what you're talking about, where everybody's going to try and dunk on these plus 500 to try and make a buck. So, like, why do you think that is? Is it with the different structure? And it's not even the different structure of the bone. Well, maybe some of the ones don't do like this free bet that you're talking about, right? Where you only get the profit back. Some of them just give you $200 and say, have at it. And you just have to meet the rollover. And then whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter, right? They just give you $200, right? So I think it may be something to do it. Do you see that a lot?
So that $200, say if you bet at minus 200, $200 at minus 200, will they give you $300 cash
Yeah,
in your
it'll
pocket?
just have be 300 when you win, right? And you just have to deal with the rollover.
Okay, that's interesting. You know, I've never seen that. I'd have to do the sums on what the best way to play that is. That has never existed in Australia.
Okay. No, I mean, it's obviously my favorite thing because the math is easier.
Yeah, well, based on that, you're just trying to get your $200 back, aren't you? So you would be betting the minimum odds that you could in terms and conditions on that
Yep.
that in that example. So yeah, and just commenting on the odds limits either way. Like, as you mentioned, the bookmakers who set a higher limit, like say plus 225, plus 250, or well, they're the smart ones. They know what's happening. What I've found for years, incredibly, with promotions is that a lot of bookmakers don't know the numbers. I've also seen, I haven't seen the upper limit ones in Australia, but I've definitely seen the lower limit ones, like, minimum minus 200 for your bonus bet, which is just like, yeah, sure, no worries. I was going to do that anyway. um, so yeah, happy days. They're actually helping the better there. All right, we'll move on to the next slide. So back to bonus bets, free bets. I've got 3 tables, and what I've done in each of these tables is just demonstrate an example of 10 bets bet at a certain odds. So in this case, I've used 10 $100 bonus bets at $2 decimal odds, which is plus 100 in your language. And we know that on balance, on average, we're going to win 5 of those bets. 5 out of 10, 50%. So when you look at the return, which is the just the profit with bonus bets, then overall for your $1,000 worth of bonus bets, you're going to get back $500, about half your value, 50%, if you bet at plus 100 odds. The next table is exactly the same, but at plus 400 odds. So they're going to win 20% of the time. On average, you're going to get 2 winners out of 10. But at those odds, you're going to get $400 for each winner, which is $800 total for your $1,000 bonus bets, 80% return. And you can see where I'm going with this. The last slide, $10 odds, so plus 900, you're going to get 1 out of 10 on average. You get $900 for your return, and you've returned 90% of the bonus value. So the upshot here is the longer the odds on a random bonus bet spend, the better the long-term returns you'll get on your bonus bet. So one issue that people come across is, they want to lock in profit on their free bets that they've got. And, an issue with playing, there's such large dogs is that you're going to lose 9 out of 10. You get nothing for your value there. So there's two ways to go about this. Like you can sort of play the long-term game, which is, I always recommend the long-term game. You guys obviously know all about the long-term game. And the reason it's better financially long-term just to let the bet ride is because backing the opposite side costs you EV. And when you go through enough volume on these things, it costs a lot of money. One way that I don't think you guys have access to Betfair there, I might be wrong, but a common way that people use their bonus bets here is that they'll bet on a horse race because horse racing is big here. They'll bet a plus 900 horse, and then they'll go to Betfair and lay the same horse, so be the bookmaker, and then they'll lock in their say $80 worth of profit no matter what happens. But those lay bets, they cost thousands in the long run. So we don't want to lose thousands. So you're better off just letting it ride. Now, the other option is you can take the short-term approach, which costs you, but you can lock in that profit. So you can bet your dog with your bonus bet, and then you can either back the other team in a money line bet, or you can just lay that same team if you get that option over there. What options do you have for laying, Cameron, over in North America? Do you have Betfair and exchanges like that?
I know that New Jersey has exchanges, right? They have Sport Trade and Profit Exchange in Jersey. Ontario is looking to get an exchange at some, undetermined amount of time, but that's it. There aren't any other ones that I know of. So your only options are to just price shop, right? If you're laying the dog in a baseball game, and then you just price shop and try and find the best price on the favorite at a different shop. And then, hopefully you find one that's like, plus 200, minus 200, and then lock both of those in would be the only best option.
Yeah, that's assuming you went for that short-term lock in the profit approach.
Yeah, that's right.
which also does have benefits in the sense that, as I'll talk about soon, you do need to, if you're getting these match promotions, provide the bookmakers some regular bets. You can't just bet on the promotional markets, or they'll quickly see what's happening. So there is that benefit of as well of the short-term approach here. So now I'll talk a little about the specific match promotions. So as I mentioned, the bookmakers are trying to sign you up, but they're also trying to maintain that customer from going and stopping them from going to a new bookmaker. So they offer these match promotions. The value on these sort of promotions really ranges from anywhere from negative 20% EV, huge losing bets long term, to massive winning bets. Like I've even seen plus over 100% EV, believe it or not, on some promotions. And it all depends on the specific conditions of the promotion. So the two main factors are these two. Firstly, what type of promotion is it? So is it an early payout promotion, a money back promotion, or a bonus bet promotion? And they're ranked 1, 2, 3. But really the key is, how often does the bonus condition happen? And it's a combination of the first dot point and the second dot point that tells you whether it's a plus EV bet or not. So the early payout promotions, as we've mentioned, the promotion itself is fantastic in terms of the return, but it might only happen 3-4% of the time that the ice hockey team will lead by 3 goals and then lose. Whereas the money back promotions, it might be money back if you lead at half time and lose. So it's a little more likely to happen, but the reward isn't as good. And same with bonus bets. It might be draw at halftime and go on to lose or something like that. I'm not sure. So I have whole years that calculate all these different promotions and conditions, and I've got to the point now where I can work out pretty much what's been offered. So yeah, hit me up if you'd like me to analyze a promotion that you're seeing often, and I can give you a hand there.
If it's bonus bets, like what's your threshold for even considering doing it, whether it's worth it, right? Because sometimes it'll say bet whatever X amount of dollars and you'll get $10 back in bonus bets, or maybe even $50 back in bonus bets. But I obviously for like $100 back in bonus bets, you'd be like, yeah, that's probably worth my time. Like, where do you sort of draw the line on? Because the bonus bets, it's only a fraction of what you're going to get in expected value, right? So like, where do you draw the line on that?
Yeah, so in terms of the volume available, yeah, like if it's only $10, it's not worth anyone's time really. I tend to go $25 and above, but obviously the higher the better. And if you're sometimes they'll even offer you like half your stake back in bonus bets, which is never worth it. You only ever want your 100% stake back in bonus bets. So $100 stake will result in $100 bonus bet if a certain condition is met. You never want any less than that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good.
Because at that point it starts becoming negative EV. And the other factor to consider is the market that you're betting into. So, if it's a money line market or a handicap line market, where the VIG is pretty low, then obviously you're more likely to be able to push that from negative territory into positive. Whereas if say the promotion's on like first touchdown scorer, which we know have much worse. You're starting so much more behind the eight ball, as we'd say here. And so they can still be profitable, but less likely to be profitable. It's rare. So once you start getting the match promotions from a specific bookie, you want to try to maintain your access to those promotions as long as you can, and that's what this slide is about. So you basically the key there is you have to bet on markets that are regular, non-promotional markets, because at the end of the day, that's the whole aim of the bookmaker, to get you to bet on to become a long-term loser. Essentially, they're trying to entice you in with these little bonuses here and that sort of thing, and then get you to lose long-term. So you have to kind of show that you're willing to bet on normal markets, but if you do it in a smart way, you don't have to lose too much, and you can have a plus EV overall. So I think an important thing here, I'll go through the dot points. So choosing low VIG markets is important. I think popular leagues is also important. So you look like a regular bettor essentially, and you can do bet one side at one bookmaker and bet the other side at another one. You can do that as long as they're not owned by the same company. That's important to do, and you can aim for middles there even. One thing I like to do is like over withdraw and deposit often. So I might withdraw say $800 from an account and then over time put in $150, $200, $250 deposits. So I'm doing more depositing than withdrawing in terms of the actual number of them. But the key I've found is the account look. So I've found it in most cases in Australia anyway that they seem to manually look at your betting statement. There is some software, I've got no doubt, tracking who's getting CLV and good odds and things like that. But on the whole, they're just doing it manually. So putting in regular bets around half to 2/3 of the size of the promotional bets, I find is good, because those regular bets will be slightly negative EV in a lot of cases, but you want to have lots of them there. But as low a volume as you can. But at the same time, if you're betting $100 on your promotional market and then only $10 on your other market, it kind of gives your game up a little bit.
Yeah. And then in your experience, if the goal is to maintain, the promotions, what do you think the sports books appetite for giving you your money back in promotions is in terms of like your losses? Is it like 10%? Like if you were to take a guess? I've recently lost a lot at one book, and I'm curious to see how much they think they will just bleed back to me in these promotions.
Oh yeah, that's right. That definitely happens. So, I've got experience of the same thing of where accounts that have by chance happened to go on a bad run, and then all of a sudden I'm getting double the value of the promotion, say a $200 promotion instead of a $100 one, things like that. I would even get in touch with the bookie potentially and say, hey, this sucks. I'm just going to go. And all I do is lose on you guys, and then they'll probably come back and say, hey, well, do you want a free deposit bonus? They're definitely because their whole aim really, I think, is that they want the small fish. They want a lot of small fish, but they're really looking for the big whales. And if you up or show you're willing to up your bet size when you're losing, when you're getting these deposit bonuses, then that's good if you can do it. But at the same time, I don't think you want to be playing the game of deliberately losing to try and get them to get the bonuses, because sometimes they just never reward them to you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
So second to last slide here, just wanted to talk about the US. Last couple of years has been pretty nuts now that online gambling's opened up. And it's essentially, it reminds me of what Australia was like about 20 years ago. It was just pretty crazy. All the bookies trying to get market share and offering really insanely good deposit sign-up bonuses. Anything that's above a 50% match or better on your deposit is worth betting. So deposit 1,000, get 500 in free bets is worth doing once you've done the turnover requirements. Anything less than that, I don't think is worthwhile. So as you guys would mostly be familiar with, there are turnover requirements to withdraw your cash as a anti-money laundering policy that seems to be worldwide in regulated. So just check those conditions before you deposit.
What's the biggest turnover X that you've
that's
seen in
on
Australia?
that one? So I'd be really interested in seeing what's available to you over there. It won't take me long to analyze them, and I can let you know the plus EV on it. You can email me at that email address there, or you can contact me on my Twitter. They're probably the best two places. Signal I'm not as good with, sorry. I do check in every now and then, but I will eventually get back to you there as well. It just might be a little slower.
Nice. Thanks.
And that's it.
Okay. I don't know if you heard my question. We were talking about rollovers, and I was wondering, what have you seen in terms of like the biggest X multiplier that you had to do on a rollover for the deposit bonuses?
It's not too bad here, actually. Probably the worst one I've seen here is maybe 3 times.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, we get off pretty lightly here. In fact, pretty much all the rollover requirements here are just most of them are one times on your deposit. So it's not even, you might even win on your bonus bet and you can withdraw it straight away a lot of the time.
That's
What's it
unheard
like
of.
there? Is it
Unheard
more?
of.
Yeah, different over there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's obviously a consideration in whether you play a deposit bonus or not. The other thing you can do here, I'm not sure if you can do it there, is you can split your free bets, bonus bets into smaller amounts. And that's actually a smart play, I think. Firstly, it helps increase the return rate. You're not going to put it all on one selection and win or lose, probably lose, and you've lost it. But also, if you do get that big winner, you don't have the issue of trying to somehow withdraw $9,000 from your account, which of course you've all would have experienced that before. Much easier to withdraw 900. So yeah, definitely split them into smaller amounts when you're back in the dogs if you can.
Yeah, I think MGM and Caesars maybe they come like prepackaged, and it's either if it's $1,000, it's 10 $100 bets, or it's 5 $200 bets. You don't get to choose. They just give it to you as like little tokens that you use.
Okay. Yeah. And so that sort of manages their risk, but it's good for you too because you're more likely to get the money out.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think we're going to agree to disagree on those guaranteed money. I always like, because I never know how many sports books I'm going to get or how many bonuses you're ever going to get. I agree that on like an infinite timeline, you would just let everything ride. But let's say I have 20 sports books that I could ever deposit into, right? I'll say I'll just take the guaranteed money. But yeah, it's only 55 or maybe 60% versus the 80 and 90% that you were talking about. So it is a lot of money, I guess.
Yeah, and that's personal choice. And good odds shopping will really cut that down. So you're not losing too much long term. You are losing long term, but for the guaranteed income, yeah, it's just personal choice, really.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rob. And thanks again for sharing your contact info. I'm sure everybody will be reaching out to you for their many questions.
Oh, beautiful. No worries. And yeah, thanks, Cameron, for the interview. And thanks, Roundtable. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone in Vegas.
Have a great day in Australia. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Cameron. Bye.
Bye.